Hello everybody, and welcome to my guide to how the guild I'm in defeats Anrak the Foul in the Gilded Prophecy. This is the first boss of the instance and requires some high raid healing along with getting the positioning and movement correct. This boss requires 2 tanks who will swap tanking the boss during the fight. We also have 1 dedicated tank healer along with 3 or so raid healers such as bards, chloromancers and justicars to cope with the large amount of raid damage during this fight. It is also a good idea to not bring too many melee DPS here. We find 3 to be about the maximum we are comfortable with. We have a tank pull the boss and move him over to near the cliff. This is to give the raid much more room to spread out around the boss. Melee DPS need to spread out around the boss as much as possible, though making sure they do not get in front of the boss to avoid his cleaves. Anrak has several abilities. He will stack a debuff on the tank that will increase the amount of damage they take by 10% per stack. This will mean that a tank swap is required. We normally swap at about 4 or 5 stacks, allow them to drop off the tank and swap back, and so on. We just have the tank stand off to the side when he's not tanking. Normally the first ability he will cast will be the eye beam. There will be a screen message that Anrak the Foul gazes at someone. That person will start taking large amounts of damage quickly. We assign a healer to watch out for this, which is normally the tank healer. They must quickly heal the target for the duration of the eye beam. If your tank healer has a 51 points spent in the Purifier Soul, then using Spiritual Conflagration on the target is advisable. This beam will do splash damage to anyone nearby, so everyone needs to remain spread out. He normally next uses his tail strike. You will get the screen emote that Anrak the Foul's tail twitches as it prepares to strike. When this happens, the tank needs to run straight through Anrak, as Anrak will kill anyone in front of him when he strikes. The tank then quickly runs back to his original position. He will normally then cast Spines of Earth, and will recast it periodically throughout the fight. This places rings on the ground round people. People need to make sure that the rings do not overlap any other player. You can overlap the edges of the bubbles as long as you are not touching any other character with them. Melee particularly need to be careful with their movement here. He will do heavy AoE damage to everyone which needs to be healed through, so when people spread out they need to make sure they are not out of range of the healers. If your bubble overlaps another player, they will be hit twice by the AoE, which will probably result in both their and your death. Anrak will repeat these abilities throughout the fight. He has 3 other abilities he uses as the fight progresses too. The first one will be Call of Anrak. This will summon 4 small scorpion adds. We have ranged DPS try to pick up one of these each and kill them as quickly as possible. The tanks want to avoid these as they will refresh the debuff that Anrak does. Melee DPS can jump on one of them as well if they are causing a problem. Anrak will cast Spines of Earth soon after the adds have been summoned, so raid healers will need to be alert for this and keep everyone as healthy as possible. Anrak will also start placing a poison debuff on random people. They will have a green pulsing bubble around them. This needs to be cleansed quickly and all healers need to be alert to this, as he can cast it when he's using his other abilities. If it is not cleansed before it expires, the person with the debuff will explode, killing them and anyone close by. His last ability is that he will place a red runic circle on the ground, which will reduce all damage he takes by 20%. We have the tank move to his left along the cliff when this happens, making sure everyone moves along with him to keep everyone spread out. This boss mainly focuses on your healers for this fight, and as long as the damage is managed and the appropriate debuffs cleansed, this boss should be defeated. Thank you for watching. I've been Zero Override and wish you luck in defeating this boss.